Good evening. It's 6:58 on the East Coast in New York. In New York, a stone's throw away from a burning city. No, that's not burning, it's just smelly. A stinking, rotting city. The heart of civilization. The new Rome. Anyway, well, it's going to be a good night. We had a great week. We did a lot of fun stuff. We had a lot of great guests, and we covered a lot of ground. And like it always happens, there is just a moment that you look up, you take a breath, and you say, "Oh my gosh, it is Friday again." And that's what it is. Get my shoulder back in its socket. That feels good. 6:59, and we have some special guests in the studio tonight. Yes, we do. Yes, indeed, we do. The first one is to my left, and that is Matt. Matt, what's going on?
Hello, Francis.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Hey, so we had a big storm. Well, actually, it wasn't a storm at all. It was big for the Carolinas and Georgia and all that stuff. They had like 12, 15 inches of rain, but we just had some wind. And, from your standpoint, from the cleanup standpoint, what did you have to do today? Any power lines down? Any trees?
Four trees came down. We took 3 of them. The other one we couldn't touch. It was on high voltage electrical wires.
Oh, so what do you
Con Ed has to remove it.
Angle that microphone down a little bit more. No, you just turn it. You'll tilt it. Good. Okay, so Con Ed had to come in for that?
They didn't do it yet.
Okay.
They're just inundated with calls.
When Con Ed comes in, do they make you do strange things for them?
Nah, we don't see them. They come do their thing and leave.
Do they make you crawl around on all fours and like repeat strange phrases?
No, why? Is there a Con Ed scandal I don't know about?
I don't know.
My niece works for them.
Okay, so maybe everything's all right. So thank you for clearing all those branches, and it's great to have you here. For a second,
they were big trees.
Yeah?
They were huge.
Where in the park?
Two of them were pretty big. One was near where Strauss used to be.
Oh, okay.
One was in front of his house.
Okay.
And then the other one was by Grey Rock.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Thank you for doing that service for the community. You are really a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here because this other guy in the room, Mike, well, some people know him as Mike from Maryland, but many of you out there know him as John Carroll. There he is. How the hell are you doing, man?
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
Good evening, everybody.
How you feel sitting in the room right here, this room over here, you, me, and Matt?
It's surreal. It's much better than watching it on YouTube. I'll tell you that.
These people who have listened to the show for a long time, they've heard you call in about one thing or another, and now you're passing through New York as you're going to visit people somewhere on the East Coast. And I'm not trying to dox your entire journey here, but a good pass through. It's great to have you on.
Absolutely, and I'm glad the weather cooperated too.
Yeah, because now it's we three,
the three musketeers, the three of us.
Now listen, you guys, we've all hung out together. Obviously, the first time we all met in the flesh was in 2018 at the Walkaway thing in DC.
Yeah.
Okay, but you guys. I know in 2020 you guys went to a couple of rallies and stuff like that. Didn't you guys have a standoff with Antifa?
Yes, that was the same trip that Matt touched Trump through bulletproof glass.
Yes, that's right. I was there with my other buddy Nick.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
So
that's
wait, you were there when his tooth got healed?
I'm not lying. I touched fucking.
I missed that part while he was touching.
This close away from Trump's hand, but it was close enough for him to give whatever kind of energy he had to heal my shit.
Yeah, and so while Matt was being healed by Trump, I was being healed flesh to flesh with Alex Jones.
Oh, that's right. So you were there. Did you get to talk to him?
I said, Alex Jones, you're really cool. I like you.
And what did he say?
He said, thanks, man.
Thanks. Buy my dick pills. You need any dick pills? Did he sell you dick pills?
Unfortunately, no. He was a very nice guy though. Security was a friendly crowd. So
yeah, it was. I remember that was the one where wasn't there a flyover? Like he flew over to a game or something. Wasn't that the rally where Alex Jones and General Flynn were seen together and people said it was really awkward?
That That was...
It was like November 2020.
Yeah, that was in November. There was a rally in November and December, and then the other one.
Well, that's incredible.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that's correct. Because then there was also, we went to the Supreme Court, and there was all the maskies were there.
That's right. That's right. But hey, you know what, Matt? You were there for when Matt's tooth was healed by Trump. That's incredible. If you ever meet Trump, you got to tell him about the tooth that he healed.
He has bigger things to worry about.
I know. He's got a lot of things going on
Don't
right
sell
now.
yourself short. He knows who you are.
I wish.
I remember you.
I wouldn't.
He tells you, Matt, just stand by and stand down.
Well, yeah, if he knows me, I want to hang out with him.
Hey, speaking of all the bigger things, you want to think about, you want to see some of the big things that people in the UK are dealing with right now? There are some kids who have gotten as much as 2 years in prison now for just being out in the streets. Obviously, people are getting rounded up now because of social media out there. Here is we make fun of a lot of the judges over here. I'm telling you, these British judges are the goofiest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. They really are. The fact that they still put those wigs on, ugh, God, how embarrassing to be a judge. You have to wear that shit. Here he is, whoever this guy is, gave 20 months in prison for a Facebook post. Listen to this. Hold on. Give it a second. It's warming up.
You have been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive or insulting, intending thereby to stir up racial hatred. The context of your offending is that it arises out of the civil unrest and disorder in many parts of the United Kingdom. On the night of the 2nd and 3rd of August, the Britannia Hotel in Leeds was attacked by people who threw missiles which damaged windows. The police were called, and on the 3rd of August, the hotel was locked down.
Can you imagine having to listen to this before you lose 2 years of your life? And that's the other thing here, too.
I didn't know you can throw missiles, first of all.
Yeah, well, they're very, very flowery with their language. Here's from the UK Home Office. Criminal behavior has no place in our streets. Not now, not ever. We will not stop at anything to ensure every person feels safe in their community. Of course, unless you're white, then you mustn't say that you ever feel unsafe, because that would stoke racial tensions and then you'd go to jail. I saw, and it was crazy to see even another United Kingdom post that was trying to encourage tourism right now. They're trying to encourage tourism, saying if you're planning to come to the UK, I said, yeah, why? And get thrown in jail for literally nothing? That sounds like a great time. This is just the most incredible. Here, listen to this. Here's a police officer in England insinuating that they will go and try to find any kind of social media offenders that leads to a problem or another. So people are saying that are they trying to say that they're trying to extradite and imprison people, Americans, perhaps, over social media posts? You let me know. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see them try to take people away. But then again, we might have, do we not have a government that's willing to do that kind of shit? Listen.
We will throw the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are...
Terrorist offenses.
provoking hatred and violence on the streets. And we will come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
Come after us.
Oh man, it is such a.
Could you imagine that?
What a joke.
You wake up one morning and there's a column of redcoats marching down the streets.
Oh, that'd be great.
Just like the old days.
That would be wonderful. If they like, you know what? I think it would be only appropriate if when they come to collect American citizens to face trial in Britain, that they wear redcoats.
Yeah, it's interesting too, just because that is going to be the biggest problem they're having. And to people in the UK, the best thing to do right now, if you're on social media, is probably to lay low. But Twitter, X, Facebook, they're all global platforms. And so maybe it's just going to be up to us to carry the weight. But they can't even retweet this stuff. That's the problem too.
Matt, what happens if what if a British man and two British police officers with those dome caps that they have knock on your door here in New York, and they say, Are you Matthew? And they say you have to come with them. You're going to be put on trial.
All right, I'll be like, hold on, let me go put some clothes on.
All right, then I know. Okay, good. Now,
I'm not going to put clothes on. I'm going to get something.
I'm going to dress all right. Hey, here 4chan started trolling British Emergency Police live chat. So the police have a live chat station that they set up, so you can go in there and say, hey, listen, you're just texting instead of calling. Some of these are pretty serious. Okay, it's 4chan, but some of them are also serious, funny, hilarious, a mixture of all those stuff. Things that I wouldn't do, but I'm watching and I'm just like, oh, shit. Here's the first one. Welcome to live chat. Someone is here for my daughter. He's brown. I can't do this. Okay. Hold on. Okay.
Are these Americans that are posting this? Do we know?
It might be. It has to be. It has to be Americans.
Because I mean, they've got to be tracking the IPs.
Look at this. Here you go. Someone is here for my daughter. He's brown and smelly and came from France, but he's brown, so I'm not sure what you can do for me. The operator says, what do you mean he's here for your daughter? He's carrying a knife. Oh, excuse me. He's carrying a knife. So he's carrying a knife.
So he's an American.
Where is this happening? In England. So they spell England in England. Where? West Yorkshire. There are approximately 600,000 a year. like some of it is very. It is intentionally confusing for the police, which is also very funny. They keep it intentionally. Okay, so here, this one is my personal favorite. This is my personal favorite. Someone gets into the police live chat and they say this: emergency, how may I help you today? The line is tapped, so I must be brief. This is your king. The Jews... Hold on. Wait. Stop. Don't make me laugh. This is your king. The Jews are holding me hostage in Buckingham Palace. As your sovereign, I am ordering you to march on London and dissolve Parliament. Dissolve Parliament because he's being held hostage by Jews. It's just that is wonderful. Wonderful writing. Let's see here. No, I can't do this one. Can't do that one. Nope, no, can't do that one.
Why not?
Can't. Just can't. I mean, you just think of reasons why I wouldn't be able to say it. Lots of N-words. I'll just say that. What is this? Oh, here you go. Welcome to live chat. Noise. Much noise. Rap. I need Nigel. Are they doing this in their house? No, outside. In the garden or street? Outside. On the street or in their garden? Outside. Operator says, are you reporting noisy neighbors? This is unfortunately not for the police. You will have to make contact with your local council for noise nuisance related complaints. Very angry, not good. Who is very angry? Many African. Are they fighting or are they being noisy in their backyard? All the person says to end the tweet is Nigel Farage. That's how they end it. They say Nigel Farage.
I like Nigel.
The Nigel Farage endings are the best. Oh, man. Let's see here. This is a good one, too. Let's see here. Hello. Please send help. I'm hiding in one of the tunnels underneath our synagogue right now. It's an off. And then here's the officer says, it is an offense to make false reports to emergency services. I will be closing this chat down and blocking your IP address. And then they say before they get cut off, please, sir, this bloody mattress is very uncomfortable. There's so many. You know what this reminds me of? Was it, oh man, it was Bill de Blasio when they set up, I think they set up a COVID or something like a narc line in New York where you can text in. And people were, hold on, wait, no, I got to get some of these.
There were some really good contributions to that.
Bill de Blasio.
At least he did something good.
Hotline spammed. Let's see. De Blasio snitch line met its inevitable fate. This is April of 2020. Bill de Blasio snitch line met its inevitable fate. What did he expect? De Blasio wants you to report people violating lockdown orders, people who really need to get the message about social distancing. People sent messages of flipping the bird, so everybody was sending messages of middle fingers, and the mayor. And then they started sending Hitler memes and dick pics as well. Now the city has to vet every message up front rather than automatically sending info to the appropriate precinct because there's so many things coming in. It's sad. Let's see. I want to see some of the other ones because there was one of them that was reporting that they had actually spotted Bill de Blasio performing sexual acts in alleyways. And they're reporting all this in, and this is when I think that we really are at our best.
In alleyways.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that happened, and then they still thought it would be a good idea to unleash that portal. It had the grand opening with the gays twirling around.
With Dublin.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, they just don't understand. They don't understand that we're not that kind of a society. We can't be trusted with this stuff anymore, and sometimes it's a good thing. But as for Britain, as we wrap this up and we get into the larger show, which I think you guys are really going to like a lot of the stuff that I have here. And Mike helped me compile a lot of it since we've been hanging out today. I wrote today's show in lightning speed, actually. Well, it's a Friday, so it's a little bit easier. And it's a little bit more of a mishmash. But it's a coherent mishmash. And it came together in about an hour. Wow.
Very quick.
I spend 8 hours a day writing, researching, doing little things, polishing. And then sometimes there's this, but here's the last one. I'll give you something from the Babylon Bee. Here's the headline for you. Russia sends troops to liberate oppressed British people from communist rule. And that's really what is going to be necessary at some point. I mean, hopefully the British people can liberate themselves. We talked about this a lot this week. I don't know where voting, I said it last night when we were talking to James Arthur Ray and Bersaba Ray, is voting's not going to get us out of this, but also fighting isn't going to solely get us out of this either. No. There has to be an evolution out of it, and man, it's going to have to happen all at once and quick. So, anyway, let's get this one started. We got John Carroll, Mike from Maryland, and Matt over here in studio with me, and I'm so happy that it is Friday, my friends. We will be right back.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Oh, there's just so much more going on here, but we're in a room. We got friends around tonight. We got friends watching in tonight. We're going to be taking your calls because it would be just great to see what you guys think, especially when we produce a couple of more bigger questions for the show. Here's the first one I wanted to talk about. I've been saving this for a couple of days, but it's an update on the Olympics. More specifically, the multiple Olympians who have now been hospitalized after swimming in the Seine River, which now I pronounce correctly, in a nightmare for Paris organizers. Take a look at this. Let me get myself out of here. Multiple triathletes have been hospitalized after swimming in the Seine at the Paris Olympics. The polluted river was used for the men's, women's, and mixed. What is that mixed? That means like a mix of men and women?
No, it means men that are women. They're mixed.
Like trans?
They have mixed private parts.
The hermaphrodite. You know that the hermaphrodite won the gold. Beat up the last woman in his way for the gold today. In the boxing, I shouldn't laugh.
Yes, you should. It's ridiculous.
I know. The polluted river was used for men's, women's, and mixed relay triathlon events. It's also set to host the 10 km open water swims on Thursday and Friday. However, two athletes have already been hospitalized after swimming in the river. According to news.com.au, Switzerland's Adrian Briffed fell seriously ill after the men's triathlon last week. Briffed finished 49th out of 50 finishers, but did not compete for the Swiss team in Monday's mixed relay. His absence followed Belgium's withdrawal from the event after Claire Michael was hospitalized with E. coli infection. She had been sick for 4 days following the women event, with the team forced to withdraw from the relay, having been unable to replace Michael. A statement from the Belgian Olympic and Interfederal Committee explained that the BOIC, and Belgian Triathlon hope that lessons will be learned for future triathlon competitions. Like, don't let our athletes swim in
French waters,
shit,
in any European water.
I heard a few of them say that the things that they saw and felt, they can never talk about in polite company. I have to imagine
Europe's a dirty, dirty place.
It's just
America's way cleaner than Europe.
What's wrong with the swimming pool?
That's what I wondered. Or what's wrong? What's wrong with? I don't know if it's like.
In fact, there's a standard. It's called Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Yes, but the whole thing there is like for the triathlon. I wonder how long do you have to swim for? What? How many yards or a mile? I guess they can always just jump into a pool and do laps until they hit their mark. But I guess it's a lot better to actually do it outside and make it part of a. I don't know.
What do you think they felt?
Definitely logs of shit.
Oh.
Definitely logs of shit. Dead animals. Perhaps bodies. I mean, who knows? Mike, you were making a joke about, or maybe it wasn't even a joke, about all the catacombs and the people have just been buried.
Oh, yeah, there's millions of dead people under Paris.
So this river was always polluted, or is it just new?
I don't know.
Because, there's like...
Dude, we were talking about the Tiber in Rome.
Yeah,
and I mean,
it's big cities. They've always been gross.
So,
just like the Hudson River's always been gross.
Well, yeah, the further up north, though, away from the cities, it becomes quite glorious.
She'd been sick for 4 days, just throwing her guts up because of all the water that when you're swimming
all
like
the
this,
shit water.
Yeah, you're destined to swallow at least a couple of cups of this stuff. It's terrible.
Well, I know about shit water now too, because I do the sewers sometimes.
You go in there?
I don't go in there, but we use a Vactor, and we'll either jet it out if it's clogged, or if we have to clean out silt and stuff from the
but have you ever
catch
ingested
basins.
it?
No, but at certain points you have to back up because something's gonna splash out. But
Damn.
yeah, it's nasty, bro.
And you know the great thing. You know what the weird thing is that is all shit from people in town.
Yeah.
You've probably seen multiple people shit you wouldn't even know it. Just.
Well, the water treatment plant is right next to our yard.
Do you think you'd be able to tell if you looked at the? Never mind. We'll talk about this off air. All right, let's see here. So they're thinking of training days that can be guaranteed, competition days, formats that can, in advanced circumstances, that do not lead to uncertainty among athletes. So I don't know what they do from here
How
on in.
come it was just those particular people that got sick and not like everyone?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess the French, they have a little more of a tolerance to it because they're dirty.
Maybe the mixed relay practice swim was also canceled this week. Although the race went ahead as planned, they're still forcing people into those waters.
Dirty, dirty, dirty French people.
It's nuts. That's nuts. So don't go swimming in the Seine. That's it. But, here's the other thing I wanted to say. On the other hand, there is some great stuff. I've watched a little along the way, especially, I'll get home and Lauren is watching and I'll watch some of the swimming, and I've seen some really great moments that always happen at these damn events. They're really great. There's always still great moments that happen for some genuinely likable athletes. I roll my eyes. I don't care about any of the America's Got Talent backstory things because I think it's very, very cringe. But I just all you need is the after competition interview and just listen to these people, and you can just tell a lot about these kids just by the way that they talk. And still, it's great to see young kids wrap themselves up in the American flag with pride, not pulling any silly shit. There are people who do that. Like, for example, I have this Olympic gold medalist, Sydney McLaughlin again. She went on, here's from Paris, talking about her
swimmer, right?
Yeah, I think so. Wait, is it? Either that or a runner. I don't know. But I've seen this and a few others that were really just nice to see. Take a listen to her, what she had said in a press conference afterwards.
I credit all that I do to God. He's given me a gift. He's given me a drive to just want to continue to improve upon myself, and I have a platform and I want to use it to glorify Him. And so whenever I step on the track, it's always the prayer of God, let me be the vessel in which you're glorified, whatever the result is. How I conduct myself, how I carry myself, not just how I perform. And so it's just freedom in knowing that regardless of what happens, He's going to get the praise through me. And yeah, that's why I do what I do.
These are the things that still,
nice.
You don't. I understand. You see the clips of things that happen when it all starts, and we analyze it, and we know exactly what the messaging is, and we know what we're being primed for, what kind of message they're trying to massage into the popular culture there. Totally understand it. But there's still something about it. There's a lot of good people that do really remarkable things, and that's been fun. And then, of course, on the other hand, here is the Olympic Committee president. Okay? The Olympic Committee president who says that there is no scientific system on how to identify men and women for events. Listen to this.
Will you commit to a review of your guidelines on this matter, given the controversy about what's happened?
We have said from the very beginning, if somebody is presenting us scientifically a solid system how to identify men and women, we're the first.
A scientifically solid system to die. What?
So then why do you still have men and women's sports?
Dude.
So why are there no women in the men's sports?
I mean, I understand this is the Olympic Committee president. This is just but we see this retardation all over the place.
Yeah, and and they can try to ruin it, but like what you were saying before, there are still people who, if you're in the Olympics, that's your life. And a lot of them kids, they've been training for the last 4 years. This is all they know, and they're not going to let this kind of stuff get in the way. And so when in their moment of triumph, there's no way to suppress that. And that's why it's still worth watching to an extent.
Yeah. You know what this reminded me of? Do you guys remember, I think it was this year, it might have been this year, late last, that Neil deGrasse Tyson had a total meltdown on somebody's podcast about men competing in women's sports. And he was so determined to not give based right. I guess it's right wing views on the world, which is just, I don't know. It's just nature in its most base form. There's men, there's women, there's nothing in between except, some people with deformities. And then everything else is just politics and ideology. So, but he was so determined to not give any kind of credence to what has become a very hot button item and align himself with people who he knows politically he detests, that he went into this mid-wit tirade about how perhaps we should get rid of men and women's sports and we should instead introduce a battery of tests that every athlete should undergo that measures all of their biochemical markers, their hormone markers, so that they are competing in categories with people who are on the very same biochemical levels as them in everything.
It'll equate to men's and women's separate division.
I know.
or is it going to be like in the military where you have separate men and women's standards?
I was flabbergasted listening to this guy who's supposed to be like the preeminent science whiz kid of the whole world.
He's an astrophysicist.
I do.
Credentialed.
But what did he ever do? Like, he
didn't
didn't ever create like an Einstein, like E equals MC squared. Like this.
He does astrophysics.
Yeah, but what did he do to become?
It's just he's the guy that everybody goes to get some lib-friendly scientific backing for whatever the hell's going on the world. Well, and it was such for somebody as smart as he is to waste all of his talents on such a mid-wit.
That means he's not that smart.
There's a difference between smarts and wisdom, obviously.
No, he's an idiot.
Yeah. He'd be able to. Oh, man. All right. So, well, speaking of idiots, here is a headline. We're moving on to some other things. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Where the hell is... here we go. Here we go. Move Mike out of the way for a second. Harris-Walz are... This is from James Howard Kunstler. Love that guy.
Sick about hearing about this fucking Walz guy.
I know.
So sick of him already.
He says that they are levitating in fake poles on gusts of idiot wind. Speaking of idiots.
They picked up support so quick.
Here you go. Who elected you the boss of this outfit? You might well wonder, how does the Democratic Party rank and file sustain such fervor for the wrecking crew of Harris-Walz conjured up with zero input from the party's demos? Just plopped on stage as by the old MGM studio heads casting a pair of iffy contract players in a B-movie musical called Our Pronouns Are Cash and Carry. So far, Harris-Walz levitate in fake polls on gusts of idiot wind from the party's unofficial public relations team of the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, NPR Media Matrix, but it's already obvious that Veep Kamala Harris's brain is just a laugh generator triggered by anything that sounds like an idea from the material world. The economy? Hee-haw. Ukraine? Bwahahaha. The border? Tee-hee. Transitioning minor children? Yuck, yuck, yuckity yuck. And the Middle East? Cackle, cackle. You are well aware, I'm sure, that the Veep has yet to be exposed to a single unscripted interchange with anyone outside of her promotional circle. It's been kind of a neat trick to behold, like watching a barking terrier walk around the stage on its hind legs, but after a while, the audience might be thinking, what else can you show me? Oh, I know, but, here's the other thing, you guys. Have you noticed that in the last magical week and a half of this complete puppet show, the stupidest one we've ever seen served up yet, there is Joe Biden's just gone. They have given so much cover to the man who doesn't exist and was never. It's completely the least. Think about that. The least consequential person in the White House right now is the guy that everybody calls president, and this gave complete cover. He's nowhere to be seen for a week and a half.
I wonder if we will see him again.
I don't know. It's nutty.
It took a while for us to get proof of life.
It did.
After they took over his Twitter account.
Very, very limited. It's really insane.
I don't trust any of this, by the way. The whole... I'm not sold on the idea that's actually the ticket. I don't believe it.
So are you with Trump? I saw we were talking about Trump's Truth Social post from the other day saying that there is going to be a big surprise at the convention in August.
I hope so. at least just for the sake of our own entertainment. I hope it's a shit show. Is it going to be Biden coming back in? I don't know. But why are they refusing to do interviews? Why there's the whole thing's wacky. And then also J.D. Vance had another thing too, where I don't know if it was a press conference or what he was doing, but he was talking about, will he debate the horse lover? And he said, well, based on how they like to shuffle things around, I'm not even sure that's going to be the candidate yet. So,
yeah, that's interesting. Because, you know, the little birds are everywhere. And you know, these secrets are not kept zipped up as tightly as they used to be. There's a lot of people who are just wheeling and dealing in information, and maybe it's all part of the plan, that kind of chaos, that insider war. Or Matt, you know all about the horse jizz?
I was just gonna ask, like, what is this guy, like a horse fucker or something?
Okay, we'll talk. Okay, you want to talk about that right now?
We have a lot on it. Yeah,
we have a little bit. We have a little bit on it. We can talk. Okay, well, first of all,
what did he, like, remember in Ali G? Did he accidentally fall with his mouth open?
This was no accident.
Onto a horse who had an erection at the exact time?
Okay, I'll put it in a nutshell for you. The smallest one I can find.
He made a horse jizz on him.
The left people out there, somebody out there put a fake claim in that in one of J.D. Vance's books or whatever the hell it was, he talked about, admitted to having sex with a couch.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard that?
I heard that.
So that and it's notably false, but they've just been running with it, having a lot of fun with it, and you know, just they made a joke, they made a funny, they're just going to lay into this for the rest of the year. So what happened was the immediate response from our side, I guess you want to say, went to this extreme. It's an amazing extreme where they just pretty much put out a fake AP fact check, where somebody asking about whether or not Tim Walz was hospitalized at one point for drinking like a gallon of human semen, and the fact check came back false because it was actually horse semen. So for the last week now, the Tim Walz horse semen jokes and memes have been incredible. There was here's one for you.
Well, and it's escalating too.
Yeah.
And also, it might be a real thing. I know that one tweet was a fake one, but apparently there was a newspaper article where he was talking about doing it. And so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, the newspaper article, that was from like the West Point, whatever. West Point.
I believe so.
And this is how serious this is. And it
is serious.
Serious in a way where...
I don't want a vice president who drinks horse cum.
Who would want that? Who would want that? But it's also that it was it's far more fun. Like this is something that I want to know a little bit more about. I want to see how far it goes. But the Zells, Frank Zell was all over this. Okay. He actually was, and he found that West Point newspaper clipping. It was like 2 days ago. He said, take a look at this.
So he's doing a deep dive into this.
He was doing a deep dive. He was actually going to contact the editor just to make sure that this is not real. Obviously, at this point, it could be AI generated easily in like a minute, but he thinks that it wasn't real, and we looked into it. Trust me.
Okay, well that's one guy's opinion.
Yeah,
and I respect the Zell's opinion, but
but we need to be taking this seriously. Here's another one. This one I loved. Matt, take a look at this one right here. If you can, I don't know if you can see it. Here's two horses that are about to mount up, and this is when we get some real. This is like the footage that we get. This video reminds me of the footage that was in M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, when we get the footage from Brazil, where they finally catch an alien on tape running through the bushes. Watch this. This is damning stuff right here. See, one horse is about to mount the other, and in comes, here he comes, and he just wants to make sure that there you go. You know, he's very diligent.
He's collecting the cum.
He's just collecting it. Everything's fine. He knows.
Is that really how they do that?
Yeah,
that's fucked up, bro.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine that?
Oh, look at the cum.
Oh,
it's mad watery.
Oh, come on. Jeez. Well, yeah, that's how they did it. That's how they do it out there. That must.
I don't know. This guy's a fucking weirdo anyway, even if he does like horse dicks or not.
No, he's very weird.
He does. Donald Trump Jr. had something to say about it today, too. I mean, this is at the highest levels.
Oh yeah. Here. Donald Trump Jr. said this. He said, "Big if true," and it's that old meme that's interchangeable with the sperm. The sperm are on their way to their target. Sperm says, "I can't wait to be a stallion like Dad," and the other sperm says to the other sperm, "Bro, we're in Tim Walz's stomach." So that's a repurposed meme with there. But here, this one I actually like. This is a small 2-second loop, and this is the horse when it sees Tim Walz entering into the stable, and it's a loop of Joe Biden saying,
"What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Can you imagine? Yeah, I can imagine that. If I was the horse, that's how I would react too. Anyway, did you hear about succulent Chinese meal died? What's his name? Carlson, the guy that "Get your hand off my peanuts." You remember that?
Oh,
Democracy.
shit! This is Democracy Manifest.
82 years old. He died this week, and we did a little bit of something on him last night. Before we get into the other thing, because I want to talk about this. Now let's just do it right now. There's another thing that happened today. When I woke up, I saw the whole Joe Rogan thing. Joe Rogan said he praised RFK Jr. said, and now there was a big shit fight that happened this morning. I saw Tim Pool and Brendan Dilley were at it for like a couple of hours. It was pretty funny. Funny thing is that everybody kind of made good points along the way. But here's what I wanted to put out there, and you guys can call in, please. 914-200-0269. Let me know what you think about this. Here it is. MAGA turns on Joe Rogan after praise for RFK Jr. Dude is dumb.
That's the least of what they said.
Some of Joe Rogan's fans are not happy. He spoke glowingly of independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. while comparing him to other politicians. The podcaster made the comments Thursday during an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience where he explained why he liked RFK Jr. "I'm a fan. He's the only one that doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas, but he's more reasonable and intelligent. Kennedy is running as one of 4 independent candidates. He's not even on the ballot in every state, right?
I don't believe so.
The others are Cornel West, Jill Stein, Jill. It's just a tradition. Just a tradition for Jill to do it. Chase Oliver, who are contesting the presidency against Republican nominee and former President Donald Trump. Rogan on Friday followed up the comments by saying that it was not an endorsement. He said, "For the record, this is not an endorsement. This is me saying that I like RFK Jr. as a person. I really appreciate the way that he discusses things with civility and intelligence. I think we can use more of that in this world." Now, what do you think about that? I mean, listen, this stage in the game, if you're going to vote at all, third party is just you.
Third party's never going to win.
No, well, it's never going to win, but it's also just it's the old logic attached to it. Depending on how that person trends, depending on the profile of that third party candidate, they are going to help one of the other candidates by pulling from the other candidate, because they're a lot more relatable to the on the fence voters that would normally go for one or the other. That is just the way it is. It's the Bull Moose Party thing with Teddy Roosevelt. It's how we got Woodrow Wilson. It's just the way it is. So,
how much pull would he actually have, though?
I don't know. If they're saying that he's polling 5%, some people say that. I can ask Rich Barris the next time he comes on to talk about this, because
I would just be interested to know if it was like the classic libertarian vote. You want to vote because it's your civic duty, but you know that you're essentially throwing it away. But it's not a situation where he's like a Ross Perot that actually did swing an election for Clinton.
Yeah.
As for Joe going out there and saying that, I mean, it's just I can see why people are upset, because this is not just some random person's opinion. Joe Rogan lives in this world. He can try to say that he's not political, but everything's political now, and he knows what's going on.
There's a lot of fence sitting that goes on with him too, that I see with a lot of these people. It's like, you don't have to vote for. Did you vote for Bernie Sanders? Maybe he did. He interviewed Bernie Sanders, RFK Jr. He brings people on that are very political and are active in their candidacy all the time. And the fact that he has avoided Donald Trump is very weird, because I'd actually like to see the impact of something of a conversation like that, to see what kind of questions are asked or anything. I understand what the overall reaction to that would be from certain people. That look what he's shilling for him. He did one thing, and I wouldn't see it like that. But I thought it'd be interesting. The fact that he's avoided it is very, very. It's just weird.
It's weird, and this idea that he's trying to bring attention onto one person when we're not voting for a person, we're voting for a system. And he understands that it is this government bureaucracy, this quote unquote deep state. That's what that's what the election's about. Trump is not just the one guy who's going to go in there and tear everything up. He's going to go in there with a team, and he's going to do what he's going to do. RFK, what's he going to do?
I don't know.
It's nothing. And so he knows that. He understands the dynamics of this election, and he's just choosing to ignore them. And so I have no problem with people tearing them apart.
Yeah, well, I in one way or another, I don't care if people tear somebody apart. I don't care what opinion, and I also don't care about somebody declaring that they have support or not support for one person or another. You got to own the reaction to everything you put out there. The Kyle Rittenhouse thing, it was a very dumb, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, naive move. You can keep that to yourself. You can start in January. Start talking about how you start talking about how you've been studying Ron Paul and the Ron Paul Revolution, the Constitution. Especially if Donald Trump is president again, you can start talking about it from a standpoint of real constructive criticism of how Trump can improve. Because listen, he's a 1990s Democrat. In many ways, everybody's known he was a progressive guy. He's made a couple of good judicial picks. There's some things that he's done well, but he's not. We don't have any. There's no American originalist statesman out there. Hasn't been for hundreds of years, or at least since the early 20th century. But with Rittenhouse, it was obviously just a very poor decision for him to put that out in public when he did, and he got shit for it, because what you're going to write in a 90-year-old man.
And not only getting shit for it, but it didn't move the needle
at all.
I mean, that seems to be like the only play they have is let's get important influencers and people who are in the public sphere. Let's get them to say what we want. And there's just too many people who they're not just repeating what they say. They're actually if what's being said by people like Rittenhouse, if he's not on the team, then okay, then he's cut off.
Okay, but now let's you guys let me know about this. Now to Rogan's point about civility and all that other stuff, and to what like Dilly and Tim Pool were talking about today. I think Tim Pool was he had made some comments about MAGA in particular.
Build bridges, not walls.
Having a hard time building alliances with people outside of their more their core, And I was thinking about that, how caveman-like things get for everybody these days. It's, the left is the same way. I mean, they were killing each other. You remember after the debate, the clubs came out for them. A civil war started after the debate with everybody was just like, yo, people finally were willing to admit, hey, Joe Biden has an advanced stage in dementia and we're screwed right now. And also, he's president. There's a lot they're seeing that shit.
I know. That's why I want there to be a contested convention. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Still, it's still so people saw that, and then there was this I don't know, the torches came out. It was like hunting down Frankenstein in the windmill. They wanted to just take everybody. How dare you do that? We need unity at this time. Everybody gets caveman-like now. So I do see that in ourselves. And that's what happened with Rittenhouse. I mean, hey, I can disagree with the way that he is thinking this out in an election like this, where obviously there's two choices if you're going to choose at all. It's just the way it is. In a perfect world, we have tons of parties that actually have equal viability, and you can build coalitions, almost like some European nations have. That sounds a little bit more nice but it's not real over here. So we know exactly what the situation is. And when you talk about Kamala Harris and the people who are, have their hands up her ass, and then whatever's going on with Trump, it's obvious. Now the thing here is, I wouldn't crucify Rittenhouse for having a bad idea, though. I can disagree with them. People were like rescinding prayers that they said that I wish I can take all my prayers back for when you were in trouble in court and all that shit, like as if he is not guilty.
Yeah,
it's like shit like that. We do get really fucking fired up, and it looks bad.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not wrong there. However, is it going to matter in November?
No,
not at all. No, and especially now because you just said there are two choices, and if you're not on the team, then kick him out now. Do it now. People have the attention span of a goldfish. They're not going to care about who said what on Twitter 3 months prior when they're going to vote on Election Day.
Yeah.
And you don't see Trump doing that. He's been very disciplined. I mean, he used to attack Republicans all the time, Republicans, quote unquote, but they weren't on the team. Any serious disagreements, he'd always do behind doors.
Was that what he said today about Joe Rogan at UFC? Was that real? Was that a real Truth Social?
He did say that, I believe. Yeah, he said, let's see the kind of reception that Joe Rogan gets next time he goes to a UFC event. He'll probably get booed. He probably will. But it's just, when are people going to realize it? And who told him to say that, by the way, too? Because Kyle Rittenhouse didn't say that on his own. Joe Rogan probably didn't say that because he wanted to.
You sure? I mean, I didn't see the context for anything. I mean, I just know I woke up and everybody's fighting.
There is a history of Joe Rogan's advertisers bullying him into saying this or that. And so, I don't think it's unreasonable to speculate about that. But the fact that it doesn't really move a needle, is Joe Rogan coming out there and saying that he's going to vote for RFK, is that going to sway the election? No, not in my opinion.
I think it would just be so fun to see a bigger podcast schedule for candidates like Trump. It would be interesting. It really would, because it's outside of my criticisms or support or willingness to vote for him. It really is outside of that. I just want to see. I'm committed to seeing more and more forcing bigger, more well-financed broadcast networks having to cover independent operations that are done sometimes in people's basements and home studio setups, whatever the hell it is. I just love seeing more of that having been forced into reality. That's a good one. Let's see. All right. Well, Matt, you have anything on that?
I mean, I know Joe Rogan said that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What Kyle Rittenhouse did.
Oh, no, well, Kyle Rittenhouse a couple of weeks ago, and that's the other thing. It ended in such a pathetic way. It ended in such a pathetic way. One morning, he tweeted out that for November, he was going to be writing in, his vote was going to be written in for Ron Paul. And I think maybe he just, I guess it's just one of those principles over all other things. And, talking about Ron Paul, and Ron Paul's he's a catalyst for so many people of figuring out how easy American governance really is supposed to be, and the benefit of it, the real, the sound logic behind it all, the liberty that's unlocked in it. But it just came at a weird time. It fell completely flat. He got destroyed, and it was less than a day. It might have been 12 hours or less that he said that he tweeted, I just got to spend some time on the phone with the people on the Trump team, and I apologize, and I'm 100% Trump. And it was just so pathetic how the whole thing turned around. I felt bad for him. It's just like, that is 36 hours of his life. I know that he would love to go back and delete. And he's been through a lot over the last few years.
And it accomplished nothing. Nothing.
I know.
Imagine if he was just like, oh, sorry, Ma, I meant Rand Paul. It made it
even worse. Oh man, yeah, even worse. Okay, well, yeah. Listen, I know I had the call screen up for here, but we're gonna come back after this little break. We'll take your calls, your super chats. We're going to go into a few other things I think you're going to like. But the topics are rich, and you can bring whatever you'd like to the table as well. It's been a long week of conversation. So whatever you have left over, please don't keep us out of it. We want to hear it. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
And there's well.
Intermission.
You are now entering, quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
Quite frankly. How dare you?
Just a little break to recalibrate things over here. It's good to have you back. All right, we are at the halfway point. Yes, we are. All right, let's go to some super chats. Send them on in. We love to read through them, and have you guys be part of the fun. Hold on. What did I just see over here? Okay, there you go. From Laura G. says, awesome show tonight with great guests. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. I really, really am. And over on Pilled, Sean Joe. Thank you. All of our regulars on Pilled. Become a regular on Pilled, everybody. Joe Elaine says, good evening, Frank. Good evening to you, Joe. Thank you for all of your help over there in the chat room. Empress Bitch to you. Thank you for the cookie. Slug Trail says, no horses were sucked in the making of this broadcast. No, not over here. And thanks again, Sean Joe, for rounding it all out with another cookie. All right, let's see. Jay Britt says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Jay.
Good evening.
Good evening. It's good to have you there. And for everybody on Rumble, we have a nice crowd over there. Love to have you guys call in, send some rants. I'll read whatever you have for us. So here, this is something else on RFK. Just want to throw it out there. RFK Jr. just made his dead bear cub story even weirder. Now, did you hear about the dead bear cub story?
No, what did he do? He slaughtered a bear?
Okay, well, no, it was roadkill. It was roadkill. Here, you have to listen to this.
Did he hump it?
It's all in here. Ready or not, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has more dead animal stories up his sleeve. The independent presidential candidate has doubled down on his side of the road hunting strategies, telling reporters outside of Albany Courthouse on Wednesday that he had picked up roadkill his whole life and has a freezer of it. Okay?
That's weird.
Journalists reportedly took the anecdote for a joke until Kennedy's campaign spokesperson, Stephanie Speer, clarified that he had been serious and that Kennedy uses the meat to feed his ravens, according to Associated Press.
All right, well, I guess that's not that weird then.
Speer also added that the presumptive Kennedy heir no longer had the 21 cubic foot refrigerator used for storing the meat at his Westchester County residence.
I've been there before.
Yeah, you have?
To be honest with you, yeah, I met him.
Did you go in his freezer?
No, I met him, and his wife committed suicide.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Right?
I don't know. I only know that he's currently married to Cheryl Hines.
I definitely, I'm pretty sure it was him, but there's one. I'm pretty sure it was him.
All right. Maybe it was. While salvaging roadkill for meat isn't unheard of in more rural areas of the country, it's also a strange topic for any presidential candidate since Teddy Roosevelt. Kennedy's bizarre story of picking a dead bear cub. This is what, and this went viral because it was recorded by his staff or whatever when he was talking off the cuff with Roseanne Barr, and I had contacted Roseanne about it, and she said that that was all his people that did it. Kennedy's bizarre story of picking up a dead bear cub off the road and posing with its slashed carcass, driving it down to Manhattan and staging it in Central Park a decade ago has been met with national shock, with some critics accusing Kennedy of animal abuse. I see that's the whole thing. It's weird for him to, you found a dead bear cub. And if you are comfortable enough holding dead things and holding them up and taking pictures with them and whatever, I guess that's your thing. And then, of course, to go the extra mile and say, let's plant this in Central Park and see what happens.
And you're a public figure.
You're a Kennedy, yeah. That it's strange. I can't even fathom picking up a dead bear. I know Matt can, but
I'll pick up any dead animal. I don't give a shit.
Right. But how's that animal abuse if he's already dead and he was roadkill?
It's just in poor taste.
Yeah,
no one wants to see that, and it's why are you happy about the bear being dead?
Well, did you see that other picture of him like somewhere in Central or South America or something, holding up it looks like a cooked dog, like he was holding up rotisserie dog or something like that. You saw that? Was that real? Did he eat dog somewhere?
I don't know if
this guy's a wild man.
I saw the picture, and he was like being kind of funny with it, like he was about to take a bite.
Yeah,
it's
obviously he doesn't mind holding a dog skeleton. He'll hold anything.
Yeah, it's just people like animals, and they don't want to see that. Even safari pics, those are a big thing too, of people posing with their kill on like safari tourism. It's just nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
There's never been a time when that's been done and people are like, yep, that's my guy.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
It's always something you have to overlook.
Let's see here. The disturbing tale, which was originally reported on by Kennedy's relative for the New York Times in 2014, was tied to Kennedy in a New Yorker expose on Monday. In response, Kennedy quipped that maybe that's where he got his brain worm, referring to a 2010 incident in which he suffered from brain fog and short-term memory loss that he chalked up to a parasitic worm in his head. Maybe you play with dead animals, perhaps it is, Robert. Kennedy had hoped to stave off any buzz created by the New Yorker article. Before the story was published, Kennedy posed in a video to his X account in which he made a light of the whole event, bizarrely telling actress Roseanne Barr, of all people, that he had originally thought to skin the cub before telling friends at dinner that it would be instead funnier to leave it in a heavily trafficked park. He thought it'd be funny. But his first thought was to skin it. Well, I mean, that's the other thing. You remember when that big, 14-point buck was hit on I-95 in Stamford? It was just laying on the side of the road. This thing was massive, Mike. Massive buck on the side of I-95, and it started getting around. Hey, by exit 6, there's a gigantic deer.
Yeah.
Well, people just started getting on the highway to drive by the area to see this gigantic fucking, Bambi dad. And by that night, somebody came by and sawed the head off, and it was just a headless carcass. They wanted the fucking ant. They were like, that's not right. You're gonna go mount that?
Yeah.
You didn't hunt that. It was on the side of the I-95. So weird. Some people are weird, man.
Yeah, that's just gross.
Although this week I was watching somebody dress a deer. I wanted to see how you actually gutted a deer and that you just hunted. I watched somebody do it first time.
When you do that, you're using the entire thing. It's a kind of a respectful process of you're going to use what God gave you on the earth to, and you use every piece of it too. It's not I don't know. I'm really not a big hunting guy.
If I ever hunt a deer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait behind a tree. When it walks by me, I'll come up from behind it and I'll slice its throat gently and whisper a prayer in its ear as it's going down. And that's how I think that it'll be the cleanest kill ever.
Just squatting in the woods.
That's it. Just wait.
If I were to do it, I would probably do it like William Wallace, just with an old school bow and arrow. You know, but as soon as you're done, you put it out of its misery.
Right. Like in Avatar.
Yeah, exactly.
Where, like, you know, they shoot their kill and they're like, "Thank you, brother, for giving me your meat." Blah, 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 blah.
It's going back to the earth. Exactly.
Yeah, just thank you.
You use the skin, you eat the meat.
Let me see here. Here's a quote. I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of, and I said, "Let's go put the bear in Central Park, and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike," Kennedy said in the video. Everybody thought that's a great idea, so we did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. Yeah, and then it created a lot of headlines.
I want to think this is sabotage, but it's tough because he's the one who's actually saying it.
I know.
Maybe he thinks it's funny.
I think
I'm convinced that happened during the Libertarian Convention. Did you see who they nominated?
What?
So, I mean, the big story of the Libertarian Convention was that Trump went there.
Oh, I remember that.
And he got booed by someone dressed as Princess Leia. That was the big story. They wouldn't show her, but when you zoomed out, that's who it was. But the person who they nominated was the most unlibertarian candidate they could have possibly chosen. Social media was flooded with pictures of him in his mask, big lockdown guy, the exact opposite of what a libertarian is supposed to be.
I remember that, although it feels like it was so many years ago at this point. But I remember the booing and him kind of telling, "Hey, let's see, fine. If you want to lose and never get more than 2% of the vote, then fine, that's fine." And
yeah, he told him how it was. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was good. You know, as far as New York and finding strange things in New York, there is one other thing that I wanted to put aside for tonight. This is something else. A gruesome crime has been committed in Yonkers. A man's torso was found with his head missing and his teeth knocked out, and it was set on fire. I wonder if this is one of RFK Jr.'s silly pranks. The body was believed to be transferred from the Bronx. This is the second time a headless body was found. Another headless body was found washing up at Queens Beach. This is a new kind of killing, ruthless, gruesome, and extremely evil. I've lived in NYC my whole life. I've probably never seen anything like it. That was from Viral News NYC, our good buddy over there.
That's cartel shit.
That's cartel shit.
That happened in Portchester.
Well,
when we were kids, that happened twice in Portchester. They found the torso on College Avenue, and the head in the Bronx. They're like scattered all over the boroughs, the body parts.
Let's see, a torso and a head found burned in Yonkers were brought here on Metro North train, police sources say. Body parts were brought from the Bronx, where investigators found more human remains in an apartment on Rogers Place. Sources say police believe a suspect or suspects got off the Metro North at Mount Vernon, according to sources. The Yonkers Bridge, where the body parts were found, was a dump site, according to the City of Yonkers Police Department. Police also found drug paraphernalia and firearms at the Bronx apartment. According to the NYPD, it was not immediately clear how the two incidents were connected. That's nutty, man.
There's cameras everywhere now.
I know.
Can't get away with anything anymore.
Well, so far they've gotten away with this. Here's Babylon B got in on the fun with RFK Jr. too. Here's a headline. RFK Jr. tells a story about a time he hijacked an airplane, parachuted out with bags of money, and got away scot-free. That's DB Cooper, right? Isn't that the DB Cooper? Is that the story? Somebody says one of the comments is RF Cooper, but the original is DB. No,
DB Cooper.
It's been a big day for airplanes.
I know, dude. Trump's plane was forced to land. Had some kind of a mechanical failure because you weren't there. You weren't there again.
My cousin worked on C-130s in the Air Force. He should hire my cousin. His plane will never malfunction.
Well, Trump was the lucky one today.
Yeah, because in
Brazil. It was Brazil.
He was in Brazil?
No. Trump was going to Montana and had to reroute, but no, a plane in Brazil, I think a passenger airliner, just fell right out of the sky.
Dude, it wasn't even like you.
From what?
I don't know.
They don't know?
It just happened, but people are giving footage from the ground, and you can see some bodies just strewn around. But this was not like there was no angle to this. This thing was falling dead, like it was a leaf falling from a tree. It was straight down.
It just happened too. I don't even think they have I don't think they recovered the black box yet.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows? It's in Brazil. There's like 60 or some odd people on.
Yeah. Couldn't they make some type of like parachute type of system? If that happens with plane, they can deploy like 3 giant parachutes and slow it down.
It's a great
something.
point. It's a great point. Like I want, and I
Right?
have to imagine that something
You mean like when
that
the space shuttle lands, it has its own parachutes?
Yeah, so at least, hey, oh no, we're falling, and point of no return, they could release some chutes, and instead of falling, I don't know, at 1,000 miles an hour, maybe it slows it down to like 300.
Yeah, hitting the ground at 300 miles an
A
hour.
little stronger.
I would be able to survive that. 300.
Well, you're in a plane. A plane, I just mean slow it. I'm just saying you can slow it down to where it won't be like everyone dies every time.
It's one thing for you to say.
Maybe you could do that. They can parachute it, and we have all this computer shit. The parachutes come out, and then this thing comes around the bottom half of the plane.
Well, really, if you're a good pilot, you deploy the
and then it
the
comes,
water
and
slides.
you even have a soft landing.
If you're a really good pilot, though, you deploy the water slides, shoot them out, and then you just safely land on the water slides.
Listen, 300 miles an hour is...
All right, well, you know what I meant, Frank.
It's not
You know what I meant. Like parachutes that can actually just like slow it down so the plane will just be like boom.
I'm with you. I have pilot friends that are in this audience that I got to talk to about practical things like that, because you'd have to imagine over a century of manned flight that all types of things, like, because it's okay if a wing falls off or something like that. Would a parachute even be able to? Would a parachute just be ripped off if you're going hundreds of miles an hour? It's one thing for a person to be parachuting and then boom, But how big is the parachute going to be? Where is it going to be stored? Are there just many parachutes? All parts of the plane?
It would be like in the size of the parachute for a plane. That's a huge parachute.
The other thing there too is anti-gravitic technology.
Yeah.
I mean, anti-gravitic technology, that I know that if that is going to become more mainstream, then obviously that should be the main way that planes propel themselves, just because, I mean, that means that you're not using jet fuel anymore, right? But at the same time,
that gets us into a whole new territory, though.
I know.
Why are they, that's one of the problems I have with Elon Musk. Why is he building rockets? Why is he building rockets? And then there's this media blitz of, there's all these UFOs out there. There's all these flying saucers. Here's all the footage. And it comes in waves, and then we just kind of forget that it was out there.
Right. Yeah. Let's take a call. Jules, how are you?
Hey, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing well. What do you got for us tonight? You have any insight?
Well, I'm listening to Matt and Mike from Maryland. Tell them I said hi, Jules in Maryland.
Hey.
Hi, Jules.
Hi.
Hey, I've been listening to you guys, and I'm just thinking, oh, my God, listen to these guys. Now, you have to remember, the flying public is about as stupid as you could imagine. Like everybody we saw with masks on in their cars, driving with, gloved hands and everything. That's who you're going to try to get to figure out a parachute.
Well, that wouldn't be us. That would be somebody at like Boeing or.
We're saying that the pilot would push the parachute button.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it still seemed a bit bizarre. But anyway, you were talking about that one guy who stole the plane one time, out in,
Sky
I guess
King?
it was Seattle.
Oh, yeah, Sky King.
Yeah. And you were going to talk about that. So I wanted to tell you real quickly, when I was in my 20s and I was working for American Airlines down in Norfolk International, I had to tow planes like that. Like I had to get into the cockpit, start the APU, had to put the headsets on, had to talk to the tower, had to make sure the beacon light was running. So that kid had to have been pretty familiar with the inside. But there were times that, because I was never alone, there was always like another gate agent or operations agent with me. They figured two of us couldn't screw it up that bad. But it was so neat to sit in there. You see everything. You see the altimeter. You see this. You see that. And it's just like, I wonder what this button does. And so I really think that guy who took the plane, everybody was like, oh, this is a really sad story. And I was like, well, it was probably the best time for the happiest, most freest he ever felt in his entire life.
I mean, I've got things I can read here on that. We were going to do it, and then there's so many other things that came together. And we're like, let's just do a mishmash here.
Tomorrow's the anniversary.
Tomorrow's the anniversary, though. You're right. I have stuff here. Hey, listen, we still have 45 minutes. I'd be more than willing to do it. I can go into my old notes. They're probably somewhere around here. I think that was June. When the hell did I do that? It was like early. It was early June, but I can figure it out because there's just good insight into all of that.
Mm-hmm. It was so neat though to be sitting up there, knowing you're not flying the plane anywhere, but to just sit back and look around the cockpit, see what does what and who does this or who presses that button. So it's pretty interesting as a 20-something-year-old operations agent to do that.
Yeah. Well,
I just wanted to add that.
Thank you for that. And yeah, it must be not hard, especially there's so many. Thanks for the call, Jules. There's so many flight simulators out there now. People play that.
He did work at the airport too.
I know, and he was always in the plane.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be hard to figure it out. It wouldn't. And then of course when you've got absolutely nothing to lose, you just go for it. That's just I have all the clips over here. So perhaps we can, I don't know how we can start it all off. It's just something. That's just something. Let's take a couple more calls, then we'll go on a quick break, and then we'll come back and do that. Hello, Daniel.
Yo, Frankie.
What's up?
What's up, brother? How's it going?
Oh, it's going. It's good to have you on. What do you got for us?
Hey. Shoot, Joe Rogan and Kyle Rittenhouse, huh?
Yeah.
I think they're both closet Trump voters. They just are trying to keep as many subscribers as possible. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Because if you go Trump and you say outright, I'm voting for Trump, you're going to lose a lot of many. And then if you say you're not going for Trump, you're going to lose a lot of MAGA. So to say Joe Rogan did the smarter thing, he just kind of left it open.
I don't know. Honestly, Mike, Matt, what do you guys think? What would, if Joe Rogan said, you know what, to hell with it, I've seen too much, I've waffled for too long. In November, I think I'm pulling the string for Trump. I mean, Joe Rogan has become he's become a target for the left.
About his money.
Yeah, but still, how much do you think it would hurt him if he just says, I'm going to vote for Trump?
Not much.
None.
But,
No. Trump is more popular right now than he's ever been. Ever.
Right.
After, starting with, what was it, the second week of June, whenever that first debate was, starting from then and through the assassination attempt, and just, he's more popular than he's ever been. And so, if you come out in favor of Trump, now is the safest time that it's ever been to do that. You come out and you're still going to get, even if people hear, oh, this famous podcaster just came out and said he's voting for Trump, whatever you would lose, you'd probably gain. You'd have a net positive in whatever you're going to pick up.
Well, not only that, but you think about how much shit Joe Rogan has gotten for as much as he straddles the line, and that pisses a lot of people off with different things. He's also done some. He's done all of the forbidden shows as well, or some forbidden shows, and he's not. I don't know. He's not the darling of the left, that's for sure.
That's what I mean. He's on edge already with some of this stuff, but I mean,
It's not
at the end
consequential.
of the
It's
day,
just it's not consequential, Daniel.
Right. I get it. But I think also that, I mean, they certainly don't want Kamala. Neither of these guys. I mean, come on. We want human race mutilation and taking your guns away. The very thing that saved Kyle Rittenhouse's life. I mean, and they know if they go third party, it means nothing. It's going nowhere. So, you know, I mean, it's certainly not, they're not going for the dark side, if you will. So, I don't know. It's all very odd.
Yes, it is. And thank you for the call, Daniel.
You're welcome, brother. You have a good day.
You too. Yeah. Ultimately, I don't think it really, like you said before, it was going to move the needle. I don't think that, I don't know.
Well, the needle also moved itself, too. If you remember, back when they were talking, before the first debate, when they were even still talking about replacing Biden then, and they would show these hypothetical matchups between Biden-Harris with and without RFK in the race. And he was beating her worse than he was beating Biden. And that was he was up by like 10 over her in Wisconsin, 12 in Pennsylvania. Just outrageous numbers. And then all of a sudden, these polls magically change where she has her coming out as the prom queen, and now she's winning the popular vote by 3 points, allegedly. Mm-hmm. It's not real.
No. It's some people. I saw 8 points. I saw this actually posted yesterday. It was up 8 points. I had to get in touch with Rich Barris just to vent.
Kamala up 8.
Yeah, it makes no sense. He says she can't be down in Wisconsin and be up 8. It can't. It just is not possible. But you know, like Kunstler was talking about, it is just. I don't know.
I mean, the raw numbers. Trump is up in Virginia. And he's up in Minnesota.
Well, did you see Virginia? I don't know how statewide this is, but I saw something about there going to be paper ballots in Virginia, or I don't know if this means that they said no more to machines, but there's a few things that happen that are pretty interesting in Virginia, and then also a couple of things that happen in Georgia. Hold on, here it is. Virginia mandates paper ballots, tracking, and proof of residency for 2024 election. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin on Wednesday signed an executive order to implement various security measures ahead of the November election, including the use of paper ballots, tracking possession of ballots during early voting, matching the number of ballots cast with then number of voters who have checked in, and the number of ballots sent to voters. This order also requires absentee ballots to be requested before being mailed to voters, in addition to rejecting ballots mailed back unless the voter provides the last 4 digits of their social security number and a birth year. I mean, that's pretty good. The state notably uses paper ballot counting machines that aren't connected to the internet and are tested before elections. Meanwhile, Youngkin also ordered the state to update its voter rolls, including adding or removing people based on whether they are allowed to vote in the state, removing those unable to prove residency, removing names of dead voters, and ensuring illegals cannot cast a ballot. I mean, I know that there is a big Washington, D.C. commuter.
Northern Virginia.
I know there's that commuter base for Washington, D.C. there that is hopelessly blue. But I mean, when we were watching in November of 2020, that was one of those states that he was up, I think, by 6 figures.
Yeah, he probably won in Virginia in 2020.
He was up by 6 figures.
He was up by 100,000 something at like 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
At
around 10:30, he was up by 6 figures or something close to it. And I remember them calling it for Biden. I said, maybe it is, but can we see incrementally him losing? Can we just actually see that happen? How can you call it for somebody when there's a 6-figure deficit right now, so late in the evening? And so who the hell knows?
And see, this is the problem I have with election integrity issues in general, is that while this is good to see, and also today in the Philippines, the president of Smartmatic was just indicted by a grand jury. And so while it's good to see these things and it's a move in the right direction, where has this been for 4 years? Number one. And this idea, number two, that it's too big to rig. We're just going to all show up on election day and they won't be able to rig it because there's too many votes. They can shut it down. In Georgia, that's exactly what they did. All the votes were coming in for Trump and they said, hey, you guys, sorry, but a pipe burst in the bathroom. We need to evacuate the building.
And that was it.
And that was it. And then in Arizona, I don't even think they used that excuse. I think they just said, we're tired.
Yeah,
we're going to just do this tomorrow.
In Georgia, they were able to take that whole thing with Ruby Freeman so far that if you say anything to critique it, you're liable for being prosecuted in some way.
Yeah, and then Biden gave her a medal. Remember that?
Yeah, nuts. I know, it's nuts. Additionally, Virginia has cameras monitoring Dropbox locations 24/7. So I don't know what that does. I mean, that's all good stuff, but
I'm ready for whatever. To be honest, I mean,
I'm good too. Whatever.
It would be great if Trump won for all the obvious reasons that just daily life would be, comfortable again. But you want to talk about our spiritual development? I mean, a stolen election again would just fast track that.
I won't have no spirit because
You'll be
This
here.
is life or death for me.
Don't say that.
If Trump loses, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Well, he's not. He's not actually going to. He wins in a fair election.
So, we know that if it's fair. Jay Semo says, Frank, you never question your guests. Give Matt the same treatment on the airplane parachute idea. Are you kidding me? I never question my guests. All I do is line up questions for them. It's for you guys to decide whether or not they're telling the truth or not, or what. Then you call in afterwards.
Are you guys saying it's not practicable?
A big-ass parachute? Why not?
A big enough parachute would definitely work. Maybe the water slides thing might not work.
The big enough. Here's the thing. If the back of the plane completely pops off and this gigantic parachute came out, an umbrella. If this gigantic, hear me out on the umbrella.
That's what it is, yeah.
But you would have to have the back of the plane completely pop off, and this huge. We're talking about.
Thought of something else to go along with the parachute.
What?
It comes out, and then what? You can also get that, and you can maneuver the wings. So instead of the wings being like that, you can make it so that the wings will.
Or what if you don't even need the wings? What if it's like an Apollo rocket where the wings fall off, the nose and the tail, and then you just have the cylinder and that has the parachutes? Or like you just said, under everyone's seat cushion, instead of a life vest, you just have umbrellas and they just Mary Poppins their way down to safety.
There's got to be something. I mean, obviously, if a plane is blown to smithereens in midair, there's an issue. But if they just start going into a dead fall, then every part of the plane is if you can't maintain control. Like I know that it's possible for some pilots to maintain control by getting into a glide, but if you're going into a dead fall, then what the hell does it matter if you pop off the tail of the plane and deploy this gigantic parachute that's like the size of a football field or two?
Yeah, it's also, and I mean,
or balloons.
The parachute idea notwithstanding, I can't help but not suspect foul play here, too, because statistically speaking, travel by airplane is by far the safest way to travel. Like, bar none. And I know that we talked about with Boeing that they've created this kind of culture of cutting corners, and so the conspiracy aspect is a little muddled there when they're killing whistleblowers for talking about it, but how does this happen to a plane? I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's not like we're going to get the truth from a black box.
Let's take a quick call from Aaron. Aaron, what's going on? What do you have for us?
Hey, Frank. Thanks for taking my call. I'm here to rescue Matt. I remember the news article many years ago. This gentleman invented a parachute for like a Cessna type aircraft. So those do exist. It was invented, and I think he made quite a bit of money on it. So they probably could do it for any size plane.
And it worked?
Depending on this.
And it worked?
It works. Yeah, he's got a patent on it, I guess.
Okay, so now how does it work? Does the tail pop off?
No, I think it just comes out of the back as it's going down, and it slows it down.
A Cessna plane parachute. Let's see.
Yeah.
A Cessna.
Also, if anybody sees Tim Walz at like a barbecue or cooking hamburgers and stuff, ask him if he wants any horseradishes with that.
Oh, I know. That would be a good one. Put it all over. Thank you for that one, Aaron. It's good to hear your call.
If I were to see him, I was just going to go up and ask him if he wants some horse cum on it.
Hey, do you want some?
I'll just be that straightforward with him.
He'd look at you and go, seriously, you have some?
He probably would, because the story's true.
The Cessna. Okay, hold on. The Cessna 172-182 parachute system. BRS whole aircraft rescue parachute system saves lives, easy to purchase and install. Upgrade your Cessna 172-182 now.
There you go.
Let's see here. The handle to deploy your parachute in a 172 is located on the floor between the pilot and co-pilot seats. The system will shoot the parachute canister out through the back window of your 172. The chute will deploy, and the airplane and you will float down at approximately 21 feet per second.
That's not too bad.
It's better than just crashing at 300 miles an hour like Matt's parachute, which is essentially cruising speed.
At least it's not free fall speed. That was my point.
Yeah, you're right. It's true.
You just got to give yourself a chance.
Yeah. Inventions usually fail the first few times.
I know. Yeah,
until you get it right.
Who tested the first parachute?
Someone that probably didn't live.
That's a good question.
Someone that probably died.
Someone
And
didn't
then
have a
they're
good
like,
day.
all right, who's next?
Daramouth says, hello, fellow Rumbler. Hope you're having a great day and an even better weekend. Have fun. Thank you so much for being out there, my friend. Okay, the lines are still open. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, more of your calls and a few things over here. I don't know.
Do you want to do Sky King?
Maybe. I'd rather do it. I'd rather, I think, produce it as a bigger. I'm waiting for a bigger inspiration to do something. We got to present that stuff in the first half and take a lot of call. Let's see. We'll be right back.
Comes from China. That's why. Comes from China.
He's doing.
Okay, this is no joke. This is what people are doing. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Not social distancing.
Put your mask on.
Get away from me.
Put it on.
For freedom. Stop it.
Whoa, whoa.
What is going on inside their head?
So this guy in Michigan came up with this idea.
6 feet apart. Oh yeah.
Extreme measures of self-isolation. It gets the point across.
So you can wear it comfortably all day. Share your smile. Z-Shield wraps your face.
On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque. On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque.
Help us put the mask in mascot.
You must wear your mask.
I shouldn't have to make it fun. It's science. It's science.
whether it be bird flu or something else, monkeypox is coming back around. I heard these actual clips of him talking. I gotta find who the hell he is again. I know I have his face in my head, and I don't know if I had heard this on Ground Zero or something else that was getting around. I have to go check it out now. I didn't think so, but as far as blaming the unvaccinated on there being hundreds of thousands of extra deaths that could have been prevented, I heard that get used by this guy, and I have to go find him because he's somebody everybody would recognize. Not Tedros from the WEF. It was somebody else. I'm getting his last name all screwed up. He had mentioned about how there's like hundreds of thousands of people who died who didn't have to die, and it's because of people who are hesitant in taking one thing or another. And it followed up. He followed up that with the need, explaining the need for something a little bit more along the lines of a NATO /UN peacekeeping force or something outside of it to make sure that people are compliant next time around, because this was, we're talking about a kinetic war's worth of mortality that could have been avoided because of non-compliance. It was a really shocking thing to hear, and I have to find it. But obviously, if it was going to be a topic tonight, I would have had it. But what you just said there triggered it. So
now the most bizarre thing too is right at the beginning there was nothing. Maybe there was something that elderly people were getting, but people were only dying in these nursing homes when they were being euthanized. But I remember it was like the meme of the summer of 2020. Someone died in a motorcycle accident, and like they were writing down all those deaths as COVID. Yeah, and people were going into hospitals, and because we're being told hospitals are overflowing, we have the death count on the screen every day, just the most morbid stuff ever. And then they set up in New York. All of Central Park was a big tent city. Remember that? They sent a hospital ship into New York Harbor and into LA Harbor. And
the hospital ship that remained empty and went home empty.
Yeah. Nothing there at all.
Hey, it's been a ghostly 4 years. Been very ghostly. Really has. We've seen a lot of people come and go. And now I just can't believe the passage of time. Talk about Kamala Harris. She made me think a lot about the passage of time this week. She's just such a deep thinker. But we keep getting that. We keep getting those reminders, especially since we get to mark these moments in such big ways. My gosh, tell you. Hey, call in right now, 914-200-0269. Let me know what the hell you're thinking. Matt, did you hear this? Have you ever heard Richard Neer on WFAN?
I don't think so.
He got pranked the other day, and I don't know.
Is that who took over for Mike Francesa?
No, it's a Saturday morning. I think it's a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning early show. He's a nice guy, really agreeable. Anyway, I don't know how he. I don't know how he didn't know that he was getting screwed with at this point. The Yankees had just signed Jazz Chisholm.
Chisholm, yeah.
Right. Well, that's what he was saying.
Oh, really? Oh, that's what I've been calling him, is Chisholm.
Yes. Well, here, listen to this. This random guy calls in. He calls into Richard Neer's show, who is just a pleasant guy that I've heard in the mornings on WFAN from time to time talking about this and that. And listen how he gets trolled.
Johnny is in Queens. Johnny, you're up on the fan. What's doing?
Hey, Richard, I just want to tell you that I remember you from WNW, and I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Good. So
sounds like Sal's
what I originally called about, but before I get distracted, was about how I missed John Sterling, because I think he would have made some great calls with Jazz. It probably would have been because he used to do something like, nobody beats the Jizz. He would have probably said,
Or hey, all that jazz. Something like
he
that.
doesn't even know.
And he says something getting jiggy with it with another guy. I forgot who it was. So he probably said getting jizzy with it. And
didn't John Wayne have a movie where he played Big Chisholm or something like that?
That's it. Yeah, Big That's it. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Chisholm. And then before I go, you talk about the enthusiasm. There's a guy who has a lot of enthusiasm, but he won't get the job. He's used to do some minor league games back in the days, a little long in the tooth, but his name is Nick Manning, and he would be like, oh, that's God. He had a very enthusiastic thing, and I know if he did the games, he'd be like, oh, drop in jizz, something like that.
It's going to be interesting because the Yankees...
He just doesn't even get it.
If Sterling had told him in the offseason last year that, that's it, and he kind of went back and said, maybe I should have done that, but he didn't, so they were caught off on their back foot there. They really didn't have a plan going.
That was really it.
He kind of sounded like the guy from the Howard Stern call. You're on the air.
Well, I don't know if he called. I don't even know if that is that guy. Who's that guy?
Jism.
Nick Manning. Maybe that was him. Oh, Nick Manning dropping loads. Whatever the hell that means.
That's from the porno.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had that guy's dildo.
What?
That dildo you had.
What do you mean?
Oh, back when you were sponsored by
you had the dildo, yeah.
The suction
that was like, yeah, that's one thing he would say. He's like, oh, dropping fresh loads.
Oh. What are you talking about? The suction cup one?
Yeah, wasn't that his?
I don't know.
Or would you? Oh, no, you called it like Jonathan Stryker or something.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It was in the catalog. They gave us a catalog. At that point, all of the cash had gone away. They're like,
was that even here, or was that the old studio?
Here,
that was the old studio. It was the old studio.
Bunch of dudes here. Take some dildos.
We were so desperate for money, and we wanted to have cool sponsors. You know, we just wanted to be a successful radio show, radio station, and we wanted to have cool sponsors and like not struggle to pay the bills. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what should we do? And I forgot what the hell was it? What was the name of the company? The online adult store.
Com.com.
Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, I got in touch with this person that worked there. I think her name was Victoria. And I said, hey, we just started a radio studio here in New York. This is probably around 2010 or something. And we would love to have you guys as a sponsor. We do like celebrity hijinks and all that stuff. It's uncensored, and I think that you would vibe with the feeling of the show and of course the audience, because it was a madhouse. And so I obviously I didn't know our worth, and we really weren't worth much. So I was just like, anything, I just want $100 a month, whatever the hell it was. And I thought that would be a steal. And I did. I said, hey, can you give us $100 a month? We're looking for $100 a month for like 6 months, and maybe a small, barter for some of your products, so that we can send them out to people. We can do like on air competitions or funny stuff, and send somebody some lubricant, a bottle of lube, or I don't know. But the other thing was that they had all these funny suction cup dildos that you can just suction cup them all over the place. So we suction cup them to the top of the ceiling. So every once in a while, if a guest was sitting there on the couch, they know that there's something suction cupped right above them. If it may fall into the lap, may fall into the lap anytime. One time we went and played football with one of the dildos. We actually used that as the ball, trying to throw a spiral with this rubber floppy dick. And it was, those were just things like it's all we had left. And then the other thing, when I say it was all we had left, after about 6 months, they said to us, and they were probably lying, they just probably didn't want to cut a check to us every month anymore. And they saw that we were a small rinky-dink operation, and said, listen, we can't, I'm sorry, we're doing a little restructuring over here. We can't do the cash anymore, but we can still send you product if you want. And we're like, we're dejected because we just lost out on the only sponsor we ever had.
But they'll still give you free dildos.
And then we're just like, all right. So I guess we'll just take. And I laugh about it because so much has happened in the 16 years, 14 years since that all happened. But we were essentially being paid in sex dildos for a little while.
Imagine if that hadn't changed.
And we ruined them.
If you never got Blue Monster Prep and then all you had in the apocalypse was just a giant chest of dildos.
Oh, dude, we made sure we got rid of everything. We did so many giveaways. We did parties with stupid parties. We just give things away. But we ruined all the dildos that were sent to us because we would. I'm
sure you did.
Yeah, I know. We worked them hard. No, we threw that. We throw them off of roofs to see if they bounced. How far do they bounce?
Should have thrown them at cars.
Yeah, I do. These things were heavy. You throw them at a car, it might break a windshield.
No, you don't want to do that.
I know. Okay, let's take a call. Ricardo, hello.
Hey,
Hey,
Frankie.
what's up?
Well, I just it's interesting, but I didn't think I was going to get in, man.
Okay.
Just landed in Tokyo. I just made it to my room.
Konnichiwa.
It's 9:45 in the morning here on the 10th, and I figured it'd be apropos that I would call a day like today because of the Sky King.
Fuck. Damn it. Yeah, I know. We started throwing together today's show, and the window that we were going to give to Sky King started getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and this would have been a perfect call. But anyway, let's do it. I mean, you just got out of the air. Thankfully, you landed because there's been some problems in the air today that were very, very severe for some people. And what was going through your mind now that you're calling from the future?
Well, I tell you, it doesn't look too pretty out here. I got off the airplane, and this is no shit. Apparently, there is a severe earthquake alert for Japan. So I did pick the best of days to come out here. I'm hoping that nothing transpires. But hey, I mean, what's Japan without the earth shaking a little bit here and there? But in any case, man, it was 13 hours, 13 and a half hours from Cincinnati to Tokyo. Pretty uneventful flight, actually. Pretty high up north latitude over Fairbanks, Alaska, before we started coming back down just to the south of Russia and then over mainland Japan. Uneventful, and just the way we like it.
Well, let me ask you. Wait a second. Are you the pilot?
I was the captain.
Is this
Trust me with that.
Is this Browntail? Is this Browntail?
No. This is not Browntail. It's Miami Rick.
Oh, Miami Rick. Jeez.
I thought you knew that.
No. Did he say Miami Rick?
No.
No, you just said Ricardo, and I figured you knew who he was. But,
no, that's just what I didn't know that was your obviously Ricardo. That makes sense now. Damn, this is your first. Dude, first of all, we have to have a very, very formal first appearance for you. You can't be the last 10 minutes on a Friday night. I have so many questions for you.
We do indeed, dude. And we will in due course, my friend. Absolutely.
Okay, so Matt, Mike, Miami Rick, he is a 747 pilot, and he has a great Twitter account where he goes all over the world. It's incredible. I mean, I just love the views from inside of his cockpit. It is just like. It is, the Millennium Falcon times 10 because there's just it's real gadgetry there. But the places that he sees, the sites that he puts out there, it's insane. So, Rick, before we go anywhere, then, because are you not able to listen while you're flying, obviously, because you might take the whole plane down?
Well, yeah, and we don't have any. Well, we have satellite connectivity because we need to, upload and download files into the flight computers and en route winds and destination weather and stuff like that. But none of that stuff works for media.
Okay.
So I'm basically dead to the world for the amount of time that I'm flying up there.
So then here is one of the big questions for the night when we were talking about some things that were going on in the sky, especially this terrible incident in Brazil and Trump had.
I saw that. Oh my goodness.
First of all, what causes something like that? This was not just there was no downward slope that this plane was on. It was just falling like a leaf in November.
Yeah. So the issue with these, so this is an ATR. It's a French-made turboprop airplane with a T-tail. This particular model of airplane has an issue with the de-icing boots, and the de-icing boots are these devices on the leading edges of the wings that basically break up the ice once the ice accrues on the leading edges of the wings. If this type of airplane flies in icing conditions, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but the de-icing boots, if they don't break up the ice properly, and if the ice accrues at a rate that the boots cannot handle, then the ice might accrue behind the de-icing boots, and since that is near the leading edge of the wing, that could disrupt the air over the wing, causing what's called an aerodynamic stall. And when you have an aerodynamic stall, the laminar flow over the top of the wing, which creates the lift required for flight, breaks up, and then you basically come down. This is something that has happened before. It was an accident back in the 90s in Roselawn, Indiana. It was an American Eagle ATR 42, very similar type of airplane that flew into icing conditions and encountered something very, very similar. And I'm not saying that this is what happened.
Right.
It just happened, so we're going to have to wait and see.
Okay, so then the other question that we had was about very creative ways to, if a plane was coming down like that, we're wondering, is there any way, like, what things have been tested as far as parachutes go? Is there any like football field sized parachutes that can blow out the back of a tail for is anything that can cause some kind of a floating?
Yeah, not for an airplane that size. There is a line of aircraft manufactured by a company called Cirrus. CIRRUS, and this is a small single-engine light airplane that has a parachute for such an event. If you have an engine failure or something happens, you just deploy the parachute, and then the airplane comes down, under the canopy. But there's nothing, like that for transport category airplanes. It would just be too heavy, cost prohibitive, because you just got to remember that anything aviation related, as far as airlines go, has to do with paying payload, be it cargo or passenger. So if it's going to be too heavy, then it's just not going to be practical.
Okay.
From an economic standpoint.
Yeah, we're just thinking of ways to make that trip down to the ground a little bit easier. But
I'll tell you, man. It's just sad. And this is not something that. So if you can pull out of a stall. But the problem is that if you're too close to the ground, you don't have enough room because basically the way you pull out of a stall is by lowering the nose and getting that air flowing over the wings to create that lift to get you out of there. But if you don't have the real estate underneath you, between you and the ground, then you're basically out of luck there. So I tell you, man, it just kills me because I know there's the crew in there, their families and their passengers. Oh my God, may God have their souls in heaven with them, because it just breaks my heart. It really does.
I know. It's I don't know. And of course, when something like this gets out there, people are reporting on it faster than anybody else, and you just get 10,000 different views from all the phones and man, it's that's nuts. Wow, I'm so happy that you called us right here before we end a really busy week. I've got so many questions to ask you, even about things like crop circles, anything that you have seen from up in the air that you can't explain. Crop circles.
Oh, it happens every time I fly at night. We'll talk about that in depth, my friend, because there's a lot to touch on that.
Anything Absolutely. You two have to ask him?
Yeah, everyone who believes the Earth is flat always says to ask a pilot if the Earth is flat.
What's up, Matt? Finally, it's an honor, sir.
What's up, man? How are you? Everyone that believes the Earth. You heard the question?
Yeah, I did indeed. Yes. You know what? It's interesting because I've met a single flat earther pilot in my 25 years that I've been doing this. and that gentleman has since retired. And it was quite interesting. I was a first officer back in the day when I was flying with this guy. And, as a first officer, you kind of have to mold yourself to the personality of the captain to keep an amicable work dynamic in the flight deck, because you're stuck with this person for hours and hours on end and you want to make it, enjoyable as much as you can. But some of the things this guy would say, man, it's like, how is it that we're flying eastbound? And we started our trip in LA and flew eastbound around the world and to back up in LA. And towards the end of the trip, I'm like, well, we flew eastbound for the last week and a half on the same general heading. How can you explain the Earth being flat if we barely changed course and we ended up in the same place? He gave me some explanation. I can't remember right now because it's been it's been a long time. But yeah, there are some flat earthers out there in the pilot ranks, which just kind of blows my mind.
Well, I mean, that's a conversation that is yet to be really, really cracked open on this show. But I can't wait to have some input from people like you along the way. I'm sure going to be a wonderful volley of arguments, and we'll get very, very far with it. I'm sure. I mean, everybody's going to change their mind one way or another, and we'll be better for it. Well, Rick, thank you for everything.
We'll either change their minds or they'll change ours. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I'm going to put your. Hold on. Where's Miami, Rick? I'm putting you up on the screen right now. Everybody's got to follow you on Twitter. Here he is, at Miami_Rick. At Miami_Rick. And really click on his media tab, and you're just going to see just wonderful cockpit views from inside of the 747. Is the 747 something that we're seeing less and less about there, Rick?
Well, on the passenger side of things, yes. But freighter world, no. In fact, there's the 747 is still the undisputed king of the skies as far as freight goes, because of the ability to take in cargo through the nose door. So you have, a lot of times for example, we'll go down to southern Brazil and pick up drilling bits. These things are 50, 60, 70-foot long drill bits for oil. And then the only way to get them in and out of the airplane is through the nose door. And the only commercially available aircraft that has the capability is the 747. So, odd-shaped cargo, heavy lift cargo. It's just, that's what the 747 was made for. And that's and I'm happy and I'm privileged to fly the thing. I mean, it's the easiest plane to fly, the easiest plane to land. It's just a joy to hand fly, light on the controls. It's fast. It's just, the only thing is that it takes me away from the family 2 weeks out of the month. But other than that, it's great.
Well, how many years until you retire?
I got 23 more years.
Oh, well, strap in, because man, that's going to be something. But isn't your, I don't really know. We have to do a formal interview, but isn't your wife like a pilot or something like that too?
She is a pilot. She's a pilot. She works in the space industry, actually.
Okay.
But she's a pilot as well. And but we fly together just for fun.
Okay.
And I let her have the controls on that one, because interestingly enough, you look at flying a 747 versus flying a Cirrus SR-22, which is the airplane with the parachute. You're on a 747, you're flying 8.5 miles a minute at cruise. On a Cirrus or a Cessna 172, you're putzing around at 120 knots. That's 2 miles a minute, and you're sitting basically, sitting on the runway. So the perspective, the sight picture is very, very different. And I haven't really stayed up current flying a single engine aircraft, because I don't really have to, because she does that. So whenever we go anywhere, she's the one that does the flying. I'll just work the radio. She's a great pilot.
I'll tell you, Rick, until we can get into a plane that you are flying, I'm probably never going to be in a plane again. I mean,
I'm gonna have to get you a container or something to punch some holes through it.
I guess something.
Unless you can fly cargo with me, although, man, that would be phenomenal.
Well, you know what? Here's the last thing I'll put. Since you called in with Sky King in mind, and I feel silly that, I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's not like we can't still do it. It's not like it's even the anniversary. The anniversary's tomorrow, so we're just thinking of things to do tonight. But since you called in about it, any thoughts about that? I mean, there's a guy who worked at the airport. He's not a pilot, but he had some issues in life. He's working through it, and he made some choices that were both dangerous but glorious and not injurious to anybody but himself. As far as his story goes, what does it trigger in you, someone who works and lives in these things, planes?
Well, clearly, as you said, and I feel bad for the gentleman. The fact that he hurt no one but himself. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. But as far as the flying itself, I tell you, for someone that's not a pilot, it was expertly executed, because a lot of these maneuvers have to be performed within the structural capabilities of the aircraft. And these aircraft are not certified to fly high G-load maneuvers. By G-load, I mean the force of gravity, right?
Yeah.
9.8 meters per second square, that's 1 G. So as you start, say, for example, you go level flight, yank to the left, hold altitude, you're going to feel your body heavier on the seat, and that means that the G-load is higher. So these airplanes are certified up until a certain G-load. That's not very high, because you have to keep in mind these airplanes carry passengers. So the fact that he was able to do all these maneuvers and fly them the way that he did, and keep the airplane intact, and keep his altitude and his situational awareness to the point where he didn't crash during these maneuvers is very interesting. The fact that he did that. I don't know if he was a sim pilot, simulator pilot, because a lot of these simulators, even computer-based simulators at home, they're very true to form as far as the way the aircraft model operates.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But to do it for real, you cannot replicate G-forces in a simulator.
Right.
Even on the multi-million-dollar simulators that we train on.
So then let me ask you this last follow-up question. If you had a 747, your baby, if it was you and your baby, and you had no passengers, and you had no cargo, and you had a belly full of fuel, do you think you can bring that 747 into a barrel roll like he did?
As long as you keep the maneuver at or under 1 G, which is absolutely possible to do, and it's just a way of flying that maneuver. So the trick with keeping a maneuver at 1 G is by trading altitude for airspeed. If you're going to do a barrel roll level, then without losing altitude, that means that at some point, at the point at which you begin to bank, the wings become less effective. And so for you to be able to maintain lift, you need to pull back on the stick, right, or the yoke. That keeps you at altitude. And as you pull back and you bank, that increases your G load. So the way to keep your aircraft at 1 G during these types of maneuvers is by doing what's called unloading the wing. So by unloading the wing, you are pushing slightly on the yoke, unloading yourself off the seat slightly, becoming slightly weightless, and then doing the maneuver, and then go back. So that's kind of how you do these things.
Would that
and the
be,
fact that he knew how to do that, it's great.
Well, would that be easier than the barrel? The barrel roll? That's just twisting around, right? Or is that
That's
the full?
correct, yep.
That's the full. What about the full loop?
Oh, that is that one's tricky, because for that one, not only do you have to make sure you don't overstress the aircraft during the maneuver itself, you have to make sure that you don't stall on the way up, overspeed on the way down, and make sure that as you come down over the bottom, make sure you have enough altitude to pull back up. And during the pull up, make sure you don't overstress the aircraft, because he could very well snap the wings off.
Shit.
So this guy certainly
He's a mensch.
This guy certainly knew what he was doing.
Well, you've answered a lot of amazing questions in a short amount of time. Mike, did you have anything to ask him?
No, that's very interesting. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Oh, you got it, Mike. Thank you very much.
Well, Miami Rick, thanks for calling in and gracing us with a topper on this episode, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for taking my call. Great work as always. You are in my headsets, my headphones all over the world for the last 5-6 years, and I appreciate what you do. You're a great man, great family man, and you're truly appreciated.
I appreciate you too. Thank you. So you're talking like a true captain through the through the phone over there. That's it. I loved it. Take care, Rick. Have a good one.
All right, brother. God bless you.
All right. Very, very tidy with his announcements. All right. Well, that's it. That's all we got tonight. Let me make sure that we did not leave anything behind. Gypsy Princess says, Frank, look up the United States Summit for the Future, September 23rd to 23rd. This is the event aimed to strengthen global governance and foster multilateral solutions better for tomorrow. Okay. Here, just one last thing. An interview from Texas Children's Hospital. I just got the transcript for this Ground Zero episode I was listening to. It was Dr. Peter Hotez. Okay. He's the one that he has the strange piano key teeth and the glasses and and he's a real fucked up character. An interview with the Texas Children's Hospital, Dr. Peter Hotez began circulating with the Big Pharma insider calling for the United Nations and NATO to deploy security forces against anti-vaxxers in the United States. Dr. Hotez's statements first appeared in the YouTube channel of an international pediatric conference that took place in Colombia, but the interview then jumped on to X. The International Symposium of Pediatric Updates later removed the interview from YouTube, although photos can still be found on Facebook. Hotez claims anti-vaxxers cause hundreds of thousands of deaths in the United States. Hotez stated as a matter of fact that the global medical reset will have to be enforced by NATO and UN troops.
Good luck.
So to your point, I'm going to keep this aside and make, that's one thing. Maybe I can get.
I guess it's good news that it's a serious enough problem that they think that's going to be required, that there's that many people out there that would cause trouble for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Hotez. That's what it was. And yeah, there is that in September. So it's interesting. Is that like another Event 201? Who knows? But I'm glad I was able to expand on that and put a little bit of detail. Cody says, on the airplane topic, I don't care about hitting the ground and bleeding out or dying on impact. They need to figure out how to rapidly cool jet engines on the way down so when the fuel tanks explode, you don't burn alive. Cody also says, most don't die on impact, they burn alive. Not sure if you've seen the videos, it's horrifying. Also, Ian saying that we're not going to get the truth from Black Box. Ian, who's Ian? Saying we're not going to get the truth from Black Box. Yikes, sweetie, not a good look. Who is Ian?
Jacqueline?
Ian Jacqueline.
Elon?
Well, that's what I was saying was like...
No, it's
the black box would show you what happened, but are they going to tell us the results of what's actually in the black box? Not even us. These are the Brazilian authorities anyway. So
yeah, it's. I don't trust anybody to tell us what's going on up here, and let alone
how
Brazil.
Rick explained it, that made a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I've seen some of the video, and I don't want to see any more. Seriously. Let me see. Slug Trail, thank you so much. Stephen and Lori says, even paper ballots must be hand counted. If machines count them, it's still rigged. Robert Sarn says, next time ask Miami Rick about chemtrails. Oh, I got so many things to talk to him about.
He's seen UFOs, yeah.
Yeah, he's seen UFOs. There's so many things. I build. Not only that, I went out and I bought one of the Ghosts in the Air book that Martin... what's his name? I forget his name. Hold on. Let me get it. Ghosts of the Air. Martin Caden. I went out and bought Martin Caden's old book, Ghosts of the Air. And it's all true stories of aerial hauntings, ghost planes from old wars, things like that.
The Flying Dutchman.
Well, yeah, pretty much, but the air version, So I got so many things I want to talk to about with someone like Rick. And that's outside of just the functional everyday things that we think. But Mike, since it's your first time, I'm sure it won't be your last time. You want to have anything to say, or you want to just say goodnight? Go ahead.
Yeah, just goodnight. Great to be with you guys finally. Yeah, dude, fantastic studio. Everything here. It's when you guys, if you ever get a chance to see the entire operation, it's so much bigger than you can possibly imagine. And just thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, listen, thanks for everything else because, as far as the real operation goes, you've been a pretty big part of it the last few years. I mean, our blog section on quitefrankly.tv is almost entirely populated by the writings of John Carroll, which is you.
Yeah.
And almost everything in there are evergreen topics that are truly they're fascinating, they're inspiring, they're interesting, they're educational. It's the type of stuff I really love honing in on the air, and it has provided so much material over the years. And now you've been doing a little bit more. You just contributed to the first newsletter, which is a thing of beauty. Everybody should go.
There's so much going on right now, you guys. The biggest thing is to just share the show in real life. Likes, retweets, all that stuff's great. But if there's something that you enjoy and you watch it every night, share it with your family, share it with your friends, because it's making, as the audience continues to grow, that's what's making these things possible, like the newsletter and a lot more to come at some point, a physical publication. So yeah, it's just, thank you for having me. It's great to be a part of it all.
Well, it's great to have you here. Matt, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you, Francis.
Yes, all right. And ladies and gentlemen, again, if you enjoy the show, night in, night out, here's another wonderful week we're putting a bow on right now. Please become a sponsor. You can go to the Sponsor Us page on quitefrankly.tv, and everything is right there. The top half is universal sponsorship right through quitefrankly.tv. Whatever level you want to come in at, it's all your choice. It has all of the universal perks that you get there: Sunday stream, the book club access, these newsletters. You're automatically in there. When you go through there, you're going to get a welcome email, and the welcome email, after you sign up as a sponsor, it's going to link you right to the archive page for the newsletter. So even if you sign up a few months from now, you'll be able to go back to the first newsletter, read everything, click through. You'll be able to see Matt's advice on how to kill all of these Chinese bioweapon lantern flies that me and Mike killed at least 15 of today. There are disgusting creatures that just never stop coming at you. Anyway, I'd love to welcome you on as a sponsor this weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday for your first Sunday stream, hopefully. All right, good night. Read your chapters for book club, and I will see you on Monday. Take care.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
A Chinaman goes to see the eye doctor. After the exam, the doctor says, "I know why you're having trouble." The Chinaman says, "Why?" Doctor says, "You have a cataract." The Chinaman says, "No, I have a Lincoln Continental." You don't get it?
I get it. He drives a Lincoln. What?